Hello and welcome to the Benzo Rehab Dungeon, episode 29. It is January 7th, 2021. I'm your host, Michael Deebs. Joining me, as always, is Danko Suvin from the Instagram handle at DankToLose. He is joining me remotely today because we were bad at scheduling things, and I'm no longer feeling sick, so that's not an excuse for him to stay away anymore. Danko, how are you doing?
Well, I'm running out of excuses, first off.
We're all running out of excuses.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that concerns me most right now is what do we do when we run out of excuses?
We just start making shit up, I believe.
Oh, okay.
That's always been my go-to, is just start making shit up. Like, oh, well, you know, my dog, I got him recently.
Right. Oh, yeah, you did get a new dog.
My grandmother, who not the one that died the last time I had an excuse, but the one before. I mean, a different grandmother. It's not my technical grandmother, but you know, I've always seen her as a grandmother.
You know, with the grandma excuses, you can actually have way more of them than you think, because not only do you have 4 grandmas that you could potentially lose, or more, really, because by you know, your grandma-in-law and stuff. So you have potentially infinite grandmas, so long as they're lesbian grandmas. Or, you know, it's smaller.
I think there's actually less grandmothers you could potentially have.
Okay, there are 3 billion
grandmothers. That's a more rational number, I think.
But you could have infinite grandmothers if you just say that they keep coming back from the dead, because that's another reason to skip out on work is, oh my god, my grandma came back from the dead. I gotta go.
The craziest thing happened. Well, and then the thing is, like, now I feel like if you start using that excuse, you then have to like establish yourself as a very superstitious person, you know?
Yeah.
Like you gotta be like, okay, well, as you know, I believe very much in
grandma resurrection,
voodoo or something. I believe very strongly in Santeria, and you know, it turns out that my grandmother came back from the dead, and
it's just a thing that happens sometimes. Don't worry about it. Sometimes. But I have to take the day off. Just if anyone knocks on your door tonight, don't answer. Just for tonight. Don't worry about it other than that. Just you know,
we have to take grandma back to the home.
Imagine
your grandmother comes back from the dead and you put her right back in the retirement home.
Right. It's like, oh fuck, I can't deal with this.
The drooling was a problem before, but now it's like black and weird.
Like Jaws gone. It's just like snails around.
Well, cool. So our first subject today is something that I really wish we didn't have to talk about, but I feel like there's a certain importance in talking about it.
All right, yeah, I'll confess.
All right.
No. What do we have?
Okay, so every morning I send you 3 text messages.
Yeah, that's true.
And those 3 text messages are, I love you, I don't care if you love me back. That's the second one. And then the third one is, God, I hope we never have to talk about Jimmy Dore again.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what you say.
I do. I'm not lying to the listener here. I would never lie to the listener.
I just wasn't sure that you'd get it right. Well, I kind of knew you'd get it right, because it's always exactly the same words.
Right.
You know, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know? Because
Well, I actually
I mean,
just
I
have a
love
program
you.
that
I
sends the
was
same
going to
text
ask.
message.
It's like a bat script on your computer that
Pretty
just
much.
says "I love you." You have it text you too in the morning. Yeah. Oh, I love you. Oh. Okay, what did he do now?
So there's this guy named Rod Weber who does
Mm-hmm.
like documentaries, and he's an artist and stuff like that, and he's very involved in sort of left wing perspectives of things. Um, he went on Jimmy Dore's show, and he had a previous experience with Jimmy Dore back in 2016, where Jimmy Dore interviewed him and then never aired that interview. And
Oh, that
so,
sucks.
yeah, so he's kind of like wary of Jimmy Dore to begin with, so he figured, hey, I'm gonna record my side of the interview when I go on Jimmy Dore's show this time, just so there's a record of it happening, and that
Why would you have someone back on again if you didn't want to like air the first interview? What
I
kind of
don't
a
know,
All right.
but he so I guess Jimmy Dore released part of the interview.
Oh, but he just didn't include the part where he dropped the N-word.
Not quite. So Rod Weber calls him out on the interviewing that Boogaloo Boy guy, because it turns out that if you look into that guy's history, he said a bunch of Jimmy Dore had him on and let this guy say, oh yeah, Antifa and I are cool, I love BLM, I'm pro LGBTQ stuff, and of course it's all a lie. And I could go deeply into why it's a lie, but you could also just like look up his old tweets. His name is like Magnus Panvidia. You can look up his old tweets, and he says shit like Antifa sucks, BLM is trash, whatever. It's and he's also he didn't like support Kyle Rittenhouse, but he said Kyle Rittenhouse had every right to defend himself in that situation. Even though he shouldn't have been there, he had every right to defend himself, sort of stuff. So, something that needs to be understood about the Boogaloo Boys, and this is why, yeah, it's nice that Jimmy Dore had this guy on, and this guy claimed to be pro all these movements. The Boogaloo Boys want a civil war. That's their entire intent.
Yeah, they want a what's it called? Like they want a boogaloo.
Yeah, they want a boogaloo.
They want right.
The dumbest term for it.
Right. I mean, that's the point, right? Is that
it's all just a tongue-in-cheek joke, but not really, haha. So they want a civil war, and what you have to understand when you're dealing with somebody that wants something like this is that they will lie to your fucking face because they don't see it as a problem. As a bad faith actor, and they're acting in bad faith, they can go on any show and say, oh yeah, I agree with all these things, we're cool, we're fine. And the point is that they want to embed themselves in all sorts of different movements so that they can cause discord, and then eventually break everything down into a civil war. That's how it fucking works. It's you can take them on face value, which you should never do with anybody in general.
That's fair. That's pretty fair.
Especially when you're talking about somebody who's part of a group that wants to start a civil war, you have to like have some kind of like, I don't know, critical thinking ability when you're dealing with them. So this Rod Weber guy, he immediately kind of brings this subject up, and let's see.
His latest movie is called 2020, The Dumpster Fire. It's Rod Weber. How representative do you think that guy that I interviewed is representative of the Boogaloos?
If you look to, say, Unicorn Riots, leaked chat from Discords, you can hear them in their own voice, very many of them saying all kinds of racist things. So I have to say that there is some merit to what people are saying. I mean, first and foremost, I would even say you need to start talking more shit about Tucker Carlson and his rants about his white nationalism. You need to be talking shit about Tim Pool.
Rod, don't do that. We're not talking about fucking Tucker Carlson. We're not talking about shit I should be doing. We're talking about this fucking guy and the Boogaloo Boys. I'm not talking. What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, okay, well then.
Can you talk about what we're talking about? I asked you about the Boogaloo Boys, and you start telling me what I should be doing with Tucker Carlson.
All right, well then let's go directly to his Twitter threads. And all this stuff. What about all this stuff from Magnus talking about his support of Kyle Rittenhouse?
Dude, I'm asking you about the Boogaloo Boys and what you know about them.
Okay, so
and if what the ADL is saying is correct, is what the ADL saying, is that correct?
What I know about this particular Boogaloo Boy, Magnus Panvidya, in his own words on Twitter, he's talking about his support of Kyle Rittenhouse, and it's a hill that he's willing to die on. When asked whether he's left or right, and whether BLM is more important than what happened with Rittenhouse, he says he'll die on that hill, the Rittenhouse hill, and he says I choose both / shrug. I mean, there is some merit to what people are talking about.
Okay, so that guy in particular, you're saying that guy in particular is a defender of Kyle Rittenhouse.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And so and Kyle Rittenhouse was the guy, was it Wisconsin?
Yeah. The Kenosha.
Who the fuck doesn't know who Kyle Rittenhouse is, first off?
That's bizarre. Well, he's probably faking it anyway. Saving himself some time to think. But yeah, I mean,
Kyle...
I think it's justifiable at first for Jimmy Dore to be responding like, what the fuck is happening? Because it's kind of clear that I'm sorry, what's this guy's name? I know that I've seen him.
Rod Weber.
Like, it's clear that he kind of like scripted out like, I need to challenge him about this stuff, which is totally fair that he wants to challenge him.
No, it's fair and good.
But it's injected at a kind of weird space. But then as soon as that's kind of covered up and he's like, okay, we'll just talk about this asshole. Then you see like just Jimmy becomes at that point in time inexcusably angry.
Yes.
Or it's like, all right, fine. I brought in Tucker Carlson and stuff. Shouldn't have necessarily done that. Let's talk about the person that you wanted to talk about. No, we didn't want to talk about him. We want to talk about other people because I've already painted him in the way that we want to view him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Twitter's dumb, and we can only listen 2-minute and 20-second clips. But
there's more. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's more. It goes on, and the last clip I'm going to show is this isn't the last.
Him getting kicked off.
No. The last clip on to Jimmy's credit, he didn't kick him off because I guess Jimmy just, I don't know, he just gets mad and doesn't think to do anything about it. Whatever. So this is the second to last clip. The last clip is just fucking hilarious to me.
The Kyle Rittenhouse support is problematic to a lot of lefties. It's like saying, "Oh, we're going to get together with Charles Manson." Oh, okay, but he wrote some Beach Boys songs, you know?
Okay. That makes sense, Rod. That makes sense. Yeah. I would have a problem with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big problem, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So then what do we do? What do we do when a guy like that shows up with someone from Antifa and Black Lives Matter and claims all the things he claims? What do we do with that guy? Do we not talk to? I mean, you've talked to those guys.
I'd say it's on a case-by-case basis, and what we need to do is vet them more, before putting them out on the internet, to tons of people, to let them just say what they want to say unchecked. I think a lot of people had a problem with you not pushing back on these particular issues. When Boogaloo comes up, the first thing that I'm looking up is I did a cross search of Magnus Panvidya and Kyle Rittenhouse. Boom, there, it's coming right up.
So when you would, okay.
This guy's teaching Jimmy Dore how to be a journalist.
I saw a video of him calling for unity, and so we reached out to him to interview him, and I interviewed him, and my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, and so a lot of folks.
And then a lot of folks say, "No, Jimmy, that guy's lying to you." So then I go to the ADL and I look up the ADL, and they say, "No, that guy's not lying to you. They actually support."
And the ADL so. Later on, we'll see a clip where he doesn't even know what the ADL is at first.
Nice.
Anti-Defamation League, basic shit. He doesn't know what the ADL is like minutes before he's talking about the ADL right now. And the ADL article is about the Boogaloo Boys as a whole. It's not about, hey, is Magnus Panvidya a cool guy from the ADL? It's the Boogaloo Boys as a whole. And in the article he's referencing on the Boogaloo Boys, it says that they're a far-right extremist group. So, like, the thing that he's referencing doesn't even say what he's saying.
Yeah.
Support Black Lives Matter, and they're not racist. So, but then you say that on Twitter he supports Kyle Rittenhouse, and so that.
If I'm going to put something like that in a documentary, I'm going to make sure that there's strong pushback against that.
How would I even know to Google that? How would I even know to Google Boogaloo Boy? You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't, like, if I didn't, again, if I went to look up Boogaloo Boys and I went to ADL, it would say the opposite. And so I wouldn't, I've since seen that. People say, oh no, on Twitter, he's talking about Kyle. Well, how would I?
I'd say follow Daryl Lamont Jenkins, follow Annie Fash Gordon.
His latest movie is called 2020, The Dumpster Fire.
So that's that clip.
Why? That's such a bizarre. Like, how would you know? You would know because you would just do basic research on the people.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, you're about to have somebody on your show, maybe look like, all right, let's say you're going in for a job interview and you want to impress them. Like, what you do is you Google the company to like figure or the company or like organization, see what they do, see what they manage, and that way you know, like that's just like basic life skills stuff. For like everyday people, and this guy is, you know, like trying to have people on to have discussions or whatever, and like how do you even know what to talk to this guy about if you don't know like any basic information about his organization, you know?
Right.
Like, hey, I looked up the Boogaloo Boys and I saw a bunch of like racist stuff. Like, how do you explain that?
Yeah, and like I'm not one of these people that thinks that we shouldn't platform any of these folks. But I do absolutely think that we should platform them and then challenge them as much as we can in that platform, right? Like that's that's kind of the point. And that's the thing that people always bring up about, you know, no platforming and stuff like that is, well, shouldn't we be challenging the ideas? Which I figure would be what Dore would say. And it's like, well, yeah, we should. And that's what you should be doing in those instances. But it's also like, no one's gonna, well, no, some people will, because people will yell at you over anything, but like most people aren't going to like rage on you if you have someone on your show and after some people do some deep diving, they like, I don't know, dropped some kind of slurs in a tweet like 10 years ago or something, or
right.
But the concept that the Boogaloo Boys are supportive of people like Rittenhouse or anything like that, the concept that it would, I mean, first off, it's bizarre having to do a Google search about that, like just one.
Yeah.
But after doing the very minimum of not discovering this kind of stuff, it's inconceivable. Like, yeah. Anyway.
So this is the last clip, and this is just pretty funny. This is while they're still setting up the show.
Okay.
Jimmy will walk across. He usually speaks to the camera straight here.
Interviewed a guy, and the corporate left comes at me exactly the way they come after Glenn Greenwald, Matt Taibbi, Chris Hedges, anybody who's doing good work. That's what they'll do.
True.
So if your film is good, you will be smeared. The CIA, MI6, I got them all coming at me. They're fucking editing my Wikipedia page.
Do you believe for one fucking second that the CIA and MI6 are targeting Jimmy Dore and editing his Wikipedia page?
Out of the 4 people listed there? No, I don't. I mean, and I'm certainly someone that thinks that they're
No. I believe wholeheartedly that I believe wholeheartedly that the CIA and MI6 are counter-revolutionary to any kind of leftist policies.
And like have probably shat on Chris Hedges and stuff. I believe
absolutely.
that.
Well, Chris Hedges has done actual war correspondence.
Right.
So
and has sued the president
in the balance of the universe where like Chris Hedges and Jimmy Dore are, it's like, oh yeah, no, they're on equal platform. Glenn Greenwald, somebody that you know, was instrumental in Eric Snowden releasing all of his information. Like, these people are not the same, and this is something he's actually also done. Is he compared himself to Fred Hampton, because Fred Hampton
that's very funny,
aligned with what was it? It's like the Southern National Group or something like. I forget what the name of the group was, but
you're not allowed to do that.
Well, Fred Hampton, Fred Hampton, you know, he aligned himself with some maybe questionable kind of more conservative groups in the
right
Chicago
to
area.
actually do things.
Right, and that's the other thing. So you know, he's saying that, oh, you know, they're COINTELPROing me like they did Fred Hampton, because you know Fred Hampton joined with these groups, and it's like, dude, you're not feeding like all of the poor kids in fucking Chicago. You're an asshole that yells at a screen.
People think that posting is war.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. That's the same brainworms that he has, is this concept that posting is war. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And just to bring up, because he did bring up 3 people, and I do like this other guy, but you know, Matt Taibbi also was brought up by him, and probably not getting screwed with by the CIA. But if he's the least likely person to get screwed with by the CIA on that list, and even it's more likely than Jimmy Dore by miles.
Right. And he's the least likely of that group. No.
Yeah.
And you know, I will say I have undying faith in Chris Hedges. Glenn Greenwald's done some real weird stuff lately. But
what real weird, you mean? Because he's always doing weird stuff. He's such a mix for me.
Yeah, no, he's a mix for me too. He does really good journalism sometimes, and then sometimes he, you know, says that AOC should have joined up with Ted Cruz instead of rejecting the offer on the Wall Street stuff. And it's like, bro, you can't treat Ted Cruz like he's a good faith actor and like he actually means to follow through on holding big investors accountable. Like that's the dumbest fucking thing you could say. Oh yeah, for sure. Ted Cruz tweeted out that, you know, he wants to hold Wall Street accountable. Like, fuck off. He doesn't actually want to do that. He's a liar. He's always been a fucking liar. He's a disgusting, weird human being who doesn't have a real face. Like,
yeah, here's my question for you. Is he better or worse now that he seems to have less airtime but also has that bizarre beard?
Oh, Ted. No, I don't like the
Ted Cruz.
No, because he's
a wolfman now.
Yeah, he's weirdly trying to be like rugged when.
Yeah.
You know, like if you put that dude in the woods with like a full survival kit, he wouldn't last like less than an hour.
Right, but beforehand he looked like a cursed melting doll.
Yeah, no, and I don't think he really looks much better now. He's a cursed melting doll with a beard.
I just think he looks like 2 different kinds of Halloween mask. It's not necessarily that one is better than the other.
Yeah. So let's watch the rest of this clip real quick.
Oh, there's more.
Because the conversation that happens is fucking hilarious. And, you know, I'm not the kind of person that says like, "Oh, you don't know a thing, haha, you're fucking stupid." But when your entire job is talking about issues,
is to know
like
things.
not even just to know things, but like to know certain kinds of things in the political sphere.
Sure.
Like when I say ADL. I didn't have to tell you that it was Anti-Defamation League. You just fucking know that because you like have looked at things. And, you know, Jimmy Dore's entire job is to talk about these kind of issues.
They're writing hit pieces at Newsweek and CNN.
Sorry, Mr. Dore. There you go. You might have to come down just a little bit, Jimmy.
Steph does lint control as well.
Yes, she does. So everybody knows I did an interview with a self-described libertarian boogaloo boy, and I was unbelievably surprised at the stuff he was saying. Like, for instance, here it is. Okay. Well, I was told that. As a matter of fact, I'm not the most straight man myself, so. So that was, my jaw was on the floor when I heard that guy say that stuff, because I had the exact opposite opinion of those people. I thought they were all.
Now, important thing to note, when he first saw this guy's. Oh, the guy on the screen was saying, "I'm not the most straight guy myself," and he pointed back to the gay pride flag. So Jimmy Dore is saying here that, "Oh, I didn't have this perception of these people. I thought they were all like right-wing extremists." When he first saw that guy's clip, he was like, "Who are the Boogaloo Boys? I've never heard of them." It turns out, and I'm not gonna bother searching for the tweet again, but Jimmy Dore has talked about the Boogaloo Boys back as far as like 2019. So for him to claim that he doesn't know who the Boogaloo Boys are and that he's never heard of them before, in that first clip when he was listening to this guy's speech, and then to have him on, like, There's just so many fucking conflicting issues there. But
racists and
go ahead if you want.
No, I was just gonna essentially repeat the same stuff that you can't be someone that claims they can comment on politics and not know what these simple
not know basic political movements that are going on.
Yeah,
they were all anti-gay, anti-Black Lives Matter for sure, I thought. But turns out he was saying the opposite, and I was called a white supremacist for just interviewing that guy. I was boosting him just because I interviewed him, because that's what corporate Democrats like to do.
Pause it for a second.
I went to the
yeah.
It's also just like the issue that comes up so often, which is like there's a lot of there's great stuff about the concept at the very least of like intersectionality, right?
Oh, of course.
Like you want people of all different types and lifestyles and stuff to combine forces and to treat one another well. Like that's a good idea. But the idea that because you may be not the straightest person in the world, is that what he said? I'm not the straightest guy in the world?
Yeah, something
like that. Yeah. Just because you may not be the straightest guy in the world doesn't mean you're not a white supremacist. Like, right? Why is it that
let's think about the most prominent the most prominent neo-Nazi in like I don't know, like 5 years ago was
Milo
Yiannopoulos. a gay guy that was married to a black man who also just happened to be a Nazi. Not the black man. I don't know if the black man. Yeah, he's also Jewish.
Yeah. Just and it's but yeah, just the fact that just because you or at least are aligning in some way with a subalternated group means that you can't hate other ones, because it gets more complicated where it's like, self-hating or something like that. But sure. Just because, hey, Mike, I hate pizza. I really love ice cream, though. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Because I hate pizza.
Well, I love ice cream too.
How do you feel about pizza, though?
I like pizza. I like pizza.
Non sequiturs, total non sequiturs.
Well, and the other thing is, and we talked about it last time we covered this subject, was okay, have a conversation with these people, but also interrogate what their aim is. It's right. One thing to say, oh yeah, we both hate the government. Cool. What we need to do is tear down the government and institute a corporate class of rulers who are going to, handle the money the right way and take care of all of us. Versus like, no, we need to tear down the government and have like an equitable society. Like, those are two different aims.
Right.
And that's, part of what the Boogaloo Boys is about, is tearing down the government so that they can have their own like weird anarcho-capitalism, which never fucking works and always ends up just being corporate controlled hell, as we've seen in history several times.
We're gonna start up the patchwork, guys.
So let's finish this clip up, because I don't want to dwell on Dore very much longer. And the reason I think this is important to bring up is because he's got a viewership of like millions of people, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, he has enough viewership to like have a producer and group of people like powdering his face and shit before he goes on.
Yeah, and so it's important to kind of call these things out when you see them happening. In my opinion.
The ADL, right? The the fuck does ADL American what does it stand for?
American Defense League? I don't know. Let me look.
Anti-discrimination League. That's what that is, right?
Close enough.
It's just funny to me because he's asking around and it's like, who the fuck is in charge over there? Like,
his producer doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Just anti-dumb stuff league.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the Israeli Defense.
Israeli.
Sorry. Yeah, it's dumb.
Sodomy is a sin.
And I'm not the straightest guy in the world.
Anti-defamation. Okay. So Mike, make the necessary edits so I don't look like the idiot that I am. Thank you.
Hey.
So this is from the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. And what is the Anti-Defamation League? It's the leading anti-hate organization founded in 1913 in response. So there you go. So it's the leading anti-hate organization. And this is what from their literature, this is what they say about the Boogaloo Boys. His latest movie is called.
So that's about as far as I want to go down that. There's more clips. You can if you want to look into this further. The fellow's name is at Rod Weber with 2 B's. And he's got a couple of other clips that just show. Here's something that we should just bring up. So the Magnus Panvidia guy used to go by Zachary Clark on Facebook, or maybe that's Instagram. Yeah, I think this is an Instagram. He used to go by Zachary Clark because he wanted to obscure who he was, obviously, as a Boogaloo Boy. And so, no toilet paper, no problem. Here is a collage of tapestries that are ass approved to wipe your butt. And so, it starts off with a Nazi flag, a Confederate flag, a Blue Lives Matter flag, a Trump flag, and they're like, okay, cool. And then the next flags are the communist flag and the anti-fascist flag. So he's like clearly against Antifa,
right.
Antifa, left movements in general, probably. Cool that he doesn't like Nazis, but that doesn't mean that he's not a white supremacist in his own right.
He just seems like one of those the standard kind of hyper centrist edgelord kind of thing. Yeah, it's just dumb. Which, by the way, guys, if you're a centrist, you probably shouldn't be hoping for the collapse of social institutions and stuff, because that's the only thing that keeps that shit in the middle.
That's true.
Yeah.
So this is a cool article that I found. So a new bill in Nevada would allow tech companies like blockchain LLCs to create governments. Planned legislation to establish new business areas in Nevada would allow technology companies to effectively form separate local governments. Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak announced a plan to launch so-called innovation zones in Nevada to jumpstart the state's economy by attracting technology firms, Las Vegas Review-Journal reported Wednesday. Obviously, this is kind of a horrific sort of thing that could potentially happen.
Yeah, I'm confused by it, kind of. But yeah, I go on.
So the measure to further economic development with the alternative form of local government has not been introduced to the legislature. But basically, they're pitching that a company can come in and kind of establish its own rule of law.
A company town?
Yes, and I was going to bring that up. I'm glad that you know the history of company towns. But company towns used to be a thing that existed until people realized that they were hell and started rioting against them, and eventually the government kind of banned company towns. What a company town was
unless you're on Mars.
Unless you're on Mars, yes, which I would love to live in the Elon Musk company town on Mars, where my oxygen may be rationed if I say something bad about Tesla. I don't know. But company towns what were they? They were like back in like the 40s and 50s, right? I think.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit earlier.
Definitely earlier. I don't know when they stopped existing, though.
Yeah, I think the 40s and 50s is when like their pivotal history started happening. But basically, a company would, let's say an oil company would set up, an oil operation, and everybody would be, moving to this oil operation. And since there wasn't a whole lot of other towns nearby back in this time, there would be like a little town that kind of popped up around this company. And what normally happened in these company towns is, instead of being paid wages like a normal person would be paid, is you'd be paid in like company credit, so to speak. And so you would have to shop within your company as well. There was other, kind of like basic rights that were kind of removed from people. And the problem with that is when you're paid in company credit, you can't spend that anywhere else, and so you kind of lose your ability to freely move around the country or
Right.
go anywhere else because you don't have any of the nation's currency available to you. They wouldn't let people kind of cash that in for American dollars most of the time. And the other thing is, they would establish strict rules on what kind of conduct was allowed in their company town. Obviously, we don't have company towns anymore for a reason, and the reason is that that creates a corporate hellscape that people don't want to live in.
I just looked it up too, but apparently company towns, I mean, they existed for a long time previous to this, and there's a lot of different kind of bleed between certain types of like debt slavery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But company towns, apparently they started declining a little bit in like the 1920s because the individual motor car became a little bit more popular, and so yeah, as that's where I guess they started having their decline. I know that there was like like Pullman was one of the really big company towns. That was around turn of the century. That's the one that I always end up thinking of. But yeah, and a lot of these company towns literally just contract obligations to like you have to live here for a certain amount of time, and they function kind of like MLMs, so you actually have to like pay in. And so you pay in for your contract, they produce debt, and then they pay you enough that you can't really pay off the debt, and then you have to re-up on your contract and you become a prisoner.
Yeah, it's basically slavery is what happened.
Yeah.
And this is why I oftentimes consider libertarians and anarcho-capitalists to just be fascists, but like with more steps,
with fewer steps, more steps,
whatever
that we started
say.
there. Yeah. But the shit, it just left me. No, so I used to work at a Home Depot, and one of the really bizarre things that I found that they had was that they had essentially like an Amazon just for Home Depot employees.
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
And I've worked for a few companies that have that.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that do that.
And I mean, that's of course nothing compared to a company town, but it was always so fucking creepy to me.
No,
know?
The pharmaceutical job I had like a special market for employees sort of thing. When I worked at Target, they had a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy my next TV with Home Depot bucks. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, weird so shit like that. And really all it is just kind of like a
new way for them to make money.
Yeah, I mean it's like
they call a benefit.
You've hired somebody, right, and you're paying them, and it's like, how do we get that money that we're paying them back? Well, open up a market where they get like a 1% like discount. So hey, you save $10 on that TV, buckaroo. But you also spent it for the company you're working for, so we're benefiting off of your employment in a different way. It's an increased financialization of the person that's working for that company.
Yeah, that's actually I remember the way that I got my first job was I don't know, it was like
we don't have to talk to
something
about what you had to do for your first job.
But it was at a costume shop.
Oh.
And the big thing that I said during the interview was, oh, well, I mean, if you hire me, you're just going to get all the money back.
Oh, of course.
I'm just going to buy costumes and shit. It's just cool stuff here.
I should start doing that.
Yeah, just go to get a job at like your local dildo shop.
Yeah. Sir, if you hire me, I'm going to buy the biggest dildo I can. I'm going to use that so hard that I'm going to need a new one.
I have a very, very acidic digestive system, so these things just
they're digestive system. Very wanting asshole.
Wanting. That's good. That's very good. Yeah.
Anyway,
what else we got?
Let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
The thing that's weird to me about this, I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be a weird story to me at all, and would click right away, and hopefully it doesn't get through. But knowing that it's Nevada, God knows. But they say so they mention LLCs, which is like spooky, but they mention at the top also that it's for like blockchain, and I'm wondering what that necessarily would imply.
Blockchain is basically the
it's the like the methodology for like cryptocurrency and stuff.
Right. So it's basically ledger accounting that like everybody can access, and it,
right,
like, because
it's on
everybody can
everyone's
access
devices.
Yeah, because it's on everybody's devices and everybody can access it. Basically, it remains true no matter what you try to do to it.
Right.
And so what I'm concerned about is, exactly what we were talking about with the company towns and having their own company credit that you are paid in, being paid in
in
maybe
Dogecoin.
in Dogecoin instead of regular money. And it's gonna look nice on paper because you're gonna get like, I don't know, 3 million Dogecoin for your like actual $300 check. But I don't know. Dogecoin is actually spiking today, and I've been watching it because it's hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's been spiking for a few days now.
Spiking for a few days, but somebody took out an ad for Dogecoin in the Super Bowl, I think.
Really?
And so there was like a market increase because of that.
Well, there was an increase. I remember.
Which, by the way, the Super Bowl was today.
Yeah, right. I learned that this morning. I was like,
yeah.
okay.
Okay. Who's playing?
But, I was checking a few days ago, and it was like I got the app and everything, but I'm not gonna but there was an increase of like 700%, like over a couple hours, and then it dropped. But then I mean, it's not stable in any way, shape, or form, but it kind of stabilized at least for a little while around like at an increase of like 500%. So still doing really well even before this. So I'm curious what's happening with this.
Doge, go.
Go Doge, go.
So let's pivot to something different.
Yes, pivot. Our favorite segue is, all right, it is time to segue. So what
favorite segue is just kind of ramming the next subject through.
Did we talk about this one last time?
Not exactly.
Okay.
We touched on it briefly. Last episode was mostly just the stonks stuff.
Stonks. Hell yeah.
This is something that I brought up on the Instagram page a couple of times.
That's probably what it is.
In the story, yeah.
All my interactions with you blur together.
Yeah. Well, fair. When you're tripping balls on benzos, it's hard to tell what's
right.
what's going on when
days bleed.
So Biden is ending for-profit federal prisons, from what we can tell. What we know so far is that he's ordered all the contracts that currently exist with private companies that are running federal prisons to end, essentially. He's not terming the contracts. He's not terminating the contracts. He's just letting them run up, and they're not going to be renewed. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's ending all for-profit private prisons on the federal level.
No.
What it means is that he's just letting those contracts run up, and what could happen after that is, okay, we need a new contract with new companies or whatever.
Yeah.
The hope is that he's actually going to end the federal private prisons. It's like a baby step towards a better future, because a lot of these prisons shouldn't exist in the first place. A lot of people locked up in these prisons are locked up for, possession crimes.
Right.
Not everybody that gets sent to federal prison is like an insanely bad person, right?
Right.
The carceral state is still something we should resist.
Yeah.
The caveat to this order is that this doesn't apply to DHS-run prisons, which is where all the ICE detention facilities are.
Which, to be fair, are full of the worst of the worst.
Yes, people looking for a better future in a country that doesn't have it for them.
Yep.
So An executive order signed by President Joe Biden on Tuesday aiming to end the use of private prisons by the Justice Department does not apply to private facilities used by the Department of Homeland Security to detain immigrants. The order bars the Justice Department from renewing contracts with private prisons but does not address contracts held by DHS. So Biden said during his campaign that he would make clear that the federal government should not use private facilities for any detention, including the detention of undocumented immigrants. So it's unclear if the administration is planning future action on the issue. We don't know yet. It may be that he does the right-ish thing here.
Right.
I think ICE should be abolished, obviously, but
yep.
So this doesn't apply to private prisons. But if we go back to the Trump era, which private prisons are essentially operating under, or private ICE facilities are essentially operating under. So the Trump administration obviously increased how many people they would capture in these facilities. And this article is from the AmericanProgress.org. And it's about how private prisons were profiting greatly from this. And it should also be noted that Biden ending federal private prisons is only like 9% of federal prisons. So it's like not negligible because all the people in those 9% of prisons matter. But it is not the vast majority of federal prisons that are still operating under very austere conditions just from the government.
Right.
So this is a breakdown of how much money all these companies make. Government contracts are a major source of revenue for private prisons. Private prison companies CoreCivic and the Geo Group relied on government contracts for an average of 48% of their revenues in 2017 and 2018. This article is from 2019. So Biden is still allowing private detention companies, I guess, whatever you want to call them. What do they call them? Private prison companies. Biden's still allowing them to make a killing off of these ICE facilities. ICE is also opening up overflow facilities right now, is one of the headlines going around, which means that things haven't really changed. Yeah, Biden has a moratorium on deportations unless it's like terrorists or criminals or something like that. But ICE has been defiant. And one of the things to keep in mind with this story is that the DHS is under the executive branch, and ICE is under the DHS. And so feasibly, Biden could literally end ICE with like the stroke of a pen. And he hasn't done that. He hasn't ended this extremely predatory and it's something that if you want to talk about it in like the most base terms possible, base terms, not based terms. The American people are essentially paying for the imprisonment of these people whose only crime is trying to live a better life. So this is still unconscionable, and we can pat Biden on the back for ending that 9% of federal private prisons that exist, but there's still so much more here, and so much more that's not being done, and it's not
fist
like
bump
Biden...
and get back to work.
What's that?
I said fist bump and get back to work.
Yeah. and it's what's obscene here is like this isn't something that Biden needs to wait on. Like there doesn't need to be like a Senate vote or anything like that. And this is part of the problem of the Obama administration is there was so much rollback on like the executive powers, and that's what Trump kind of preyed on when he increased all these programs, which again already existed under the Obama presidency, but there was no stops to it. There was no like legislative process to whether or not you could imprison more immigrants and keep them for longer and make contracts with these private prison companies that would be more fiscally beneficial to them or whatever. So Biden doesn't need to wait for anybody to end this. He just hasn't ended them yet.
Cool.
Yeah. We'll pivot to a more fun topic.
More fun than private prisons?
Yeah, more fun than private. I'm trying to like stutter us between bad and good here.
That's that's what my grandpa always used to say. By God, boy, this here is funner than private prison.
This is more fun than private prison.
And
so Fox News has canceled Lou Dobbs' show.
Man, what an energetic cow he could have been.
Sad to see a real one go.
Yeah.
Lou Dobbs is
absolutely not a real person, by the way. He's another one of the dolls. Yeah. He's absolutely a doll.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
his entire calling him a doll is weird.
His entire job on Fox News was basically to like come up with the most obscene justifications for like racism and shit.
Right.
Racism. I don't know why the rich are better than you, and you're a shitty person for being poor, and yeah,
the standard fare.
Yeah. So the reason that they're canceling his show is because I'm not gonna read the article. The reason is that he's under he's being sued by Dominion.
He's on the list. That's good. That's very fun.
He's being sued by Dominion.
Huge for like lawsuit.
2.7 billion or something like that.
Yeah, billion with a B.
Yeah, $1 billion.
To be fair, it's him and I keep on hearing new people as part of this pod. It's him. Part of this lawsuit.
I believe Rudy Giuliani is on that list.
Yeah, and then that lawyer,
the My guy, and
the lawyer lady that
Sydney,
I forget her name.
Sydney
Powell. Yeah. Those are the names that I've heard. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah,
but it's not that he's being sued for that amount of money, but he is part of a group that's being sued for that amount of money.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Fox having some kind of stake in this has decided to cancel Lou Dobbs. And it should be noted that, it's good that Lou Dobbs is being taken off air. Hard to see any negatives in that. But it's not good that Dominion has that much control over our voting.
Has that much dominion?
Yeah, has that much dominion.
Yeah.
But it's not good that Dominion has this much power when they shouldn't even be running our voting systems in the first place.
Yeah, like a private company probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, and I don't believe any of the Dominion conspiracies. I think that they're doing the job that they're supposed to do. I just think it's a dangerous precedent to let private corporations run our elections. Essentially.
Totally. I mean, so two quick things. First off, I suddenly agree with Trump that we should open up the libel laws. Remember when he said that? And now all of his friends are being sued. But there's what was the name of the also very spookily named program, the app that was being used during the DNC?
Oh, yeah. Pete Butt Eggs thing.
It was like Dark Shadow, or it was Shadow. Was it Shadow?
Yeah, I think it was Shadow or something. That's
like Shadow and Dominion and stuff. It's like, you guys really are acknowledging how frightening governmented politics are, I guess, but chill out. It's okay. Just call some, like, I don't know, Fluffy Rainbow or something.
Democracy for everybody. See if this says.
What's it called?
Ooh, Washington Examiner. Let's get out of here. Click the wrong link there.
It's Shadow Inc. Yeah, it was just Shadow Inc.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Shadow and Dominion.
I wonder what like the optics on that are that like let people make a company name that, like hey, we're gonna make a voting we're gonna make a voting company and we're gonna call it We Don't Love Democracy.
It's the same shit where it's like, everyone thinks that that Mayor Pete is like this fucking dork, because he is.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that the way that he views himself is the same way that, you know, any one of these people, especially the people lower than him on the totem pole, but they think they're like, they really think they're like world-renowned spies and like badasses that are like doing spooky maneuvering and stuff, and the politics is all about, you know, this
It's that
art of
West
war
Wing
kind of shit.
brain disorder.
Well, yeah, it's like it's the dark version of that, you know, or
the House of Cards brain disorder, I guess.
Yeah, there you go, the House of Cards thing, and it's just everyone thinks that they're fucking Lao Tzu or something. It's just a nightmare.
No, it's true,
So,
and you know, being somebody who works for government, I can tell you all these people are fucking idiots.
Yeah,
myself probably included in some respects, but I view
ain't
myself.
We all, buddy?
I view myself as competent, but not a super spy working for government. So that's maybe the
Thank
difference. Competent, but not a super spy, because I discharge my duties as I'm supposed to, and I don't think that there's weird, or I don't believe in like colluding against things or
right
backroom talks.
Yeah, the smoking room talks. I imagine you speaking to like a therapist or something. They're asking you, so what is your like, how is your self-confidence? And you just say, well,
confident but not super spy.
Thank you. Confident but not super spy. Man, I'm hazy as hell today. I can't remember shit.
It's all good. This is the variety hour. I forgot to mention that at the top.
Variety hour.
As they say,
we're just
biz, you
we're
know,
spasming through this. The top.
Hey.
All right. What's next?
The next thing is we're back on Biden.
Back on Biden.
This is like the best pause I could have had.
Bob B.O.B.
So we talked about the issues with a Biden administration and Iran, or a potential Biden administration at the time, I guess, and Iran.
Mm-hmm.
This is Biden responding to a question about Iran and the sanctions. And go
the road. Will the U.S. lift sanctions first in order to get Iran back to the negotiating table? No. They have to stop enriching uranium first.
It appears there is.
No.
Do we know that Iran is enriching uranium?
I couldn't tell you, but
we
probably
don't
not.
actually know. Yeah, we don't actually know. That's just the report that's going around, and you know, this is one of the dangers of Biden's renewed trust in the intelligence community. Is
right.
The intelligence community sometimes lies about things.
Surprise. Yeah.
So the perspective that we need to have here is this is a form of American exceptionalism, where we elected a president 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I guess, Donald Trump. You know, whether or not you liked Donald Trump, that's the president we had at the time. And the president we had at the time backed out of the nuclear deal with Iran. And for us to turn around and say, oh, no, Iran now has to go back to that previous state before Trump, because Trump was just, you know, a fluke. We gotta wave that away, you know.
Right.
Trump was a fluke, so, you know, Iran is still subject to the deal that we had, that we backed out of as a country because we elected a shitty president, and now they have to go back to that deal in order for us to talk to them again. Like, no, we ruined that deal by voting in Donald Trump.
We gotta remind them we have that soft power, man.
Yeah. So, you know, Biden's going to maintain these sanctions that are there, which is not going to help the situation in any way. All of the reports that I've seen from third parties, mainly, you know, not just the U.S. propaganda machine, is that Iran actually was maintaining the terms of the deal more or less, even though Trump was backing out of the deal, or backed out of the deal. So this is a clear indication of I think aggressions that are going to eventually build up with Iran. Sorry, I always fuck that up.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah,
you're no super spy.
I'm no super spy. Yeah, exactly. If I went to Iran and they're like, "What's the name of this country?" I'd be like, Iran. And then they would shoot me on the spot because I would clearly be an American spy.
That's true.
Even though I look very Iranian.
You could pass.
Nobody's gonna.
You could do it.
Nobody's gonna
believe in you.
Another fun subject that we could go to here. There's the stimulus.
Oh yeah, package. That's stimulating.
Yeah, the stimulus, the $1,400 stimulus that we were promised. Always been promised $1,400.
Promised $1,400 the whole time. Nothing is.
Wouldn't it be like weird if there was like a mashup compilation of like all of the politicians that we recently elected saying that there was going to be a $2,000 stimulus package?
Oh God!
Wouldn't that be weird if that exists?
It would be weird.
Well, I guess we're gonna get weird then.
Let's get weird. Nice.
This is at Dems Watchdog on Twitter. They made a very useful video for talking about the $1,400 stimulus package we're gonna get.
If you send John and the Reverend to Washington, those $2,000 checks will go out the door.
We will be able to pass $2,000 stimulus checks for the people next week.
We'll deliver the $2,000 stimulus checks.
And that begins with the $2,000 stimulus.
When you send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000 stimulus checks. You send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000 stimulus checks.
They will make decisions about whether we give people a $2,000 check.
We need to pass $2,000 stimulus checks for the people.
We're getting people that $2,000 in relief, direct payment.
It should be noted that all this is being said after the $600 stimulus check is already hit. So we'll continue though.
Congress should pass $2,000 checks. President-elect Biden and Democrats are all pushing for $2,000 relief checks.
$2,000 stimulus checks.
$2,000 relief checks. $2,000 relief checks. They should send $2,000 checks to the American people right now.
Supporting $2,000 relief payments right now.
We need to be passing the $2,000 stimulus relief checks.
That means we need John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, who will go to D.C. to ensure the $2,000 checks.
I see ads that say, want your $2,000 stimulus check? Vote Democrat. Vote for Warnock.
The stimulus check. Chuck Schumer's trying to increase it to $2,000.
Well, I actually have a bill for that.
One of the first things that I want to do when our new senators are seated is deliver the $2,000 checks to the American families.
And the debate over $2,000 isn't some abstract debate.
$2,000 checks, so kind of actually $1,400 checks.
By electing John and the Reverend, we'll put an end to the block in Washington on that $2,000 stimulus check.
10 moderate Republicans want a seat at the table to pitch a slimmed-down relief proposal.
That money that will go out the door immediately.
What they might be willing to do is negotiate on those stimulus checks.
How can you assure Americans that relief will come and come soon?
Have you ever known anyone in the history of the United States of America that could be president and assure exactly what the Congress is going to do? That money that will go out the door immediately. And that's not hyperbole, that's real. If you send John...
Well, to be fair, Michael.
Let's be fair to this situation.
we had just gotten 600. And so if they give us 1,400, which I definitely believe is happening it's happening immediately.
Oh, I can give you a timeline for that actually, but continue.
But if we add this together, that's $2,000 right there. We just got some of it snuck over to us.
That seems.
We'll nibble off the
They're saying $2,000 stimulus checks after we've already gotten the $2,000 or the $600.
Yeah, but no, they're just they're counting that. That's fine.
It seems like. I think this is something Sam Cedar said that I'm going to steal, but he said it seems like that was an asterisk that never got presented to us. And then that the $2,000 stimulus check was, also we're going to, minus the 600 we gave you and, that equals out to 1,400 to people who can do basic math. The other claims that it's not hyperbole that these checks are going to go out the door immediately. Turns out that was hyperbole.
So gross.
Because we're not going to see those. And this is the next link I have here. Good headline: House aims to pass COVID relief bill within 2 weeks as budget reconciliation moves forward. So 2 weeks from now will be right up on March, sort of.
Yeah, pretty close.
Pretty close. The thing is that the House is going to pass it, and then it has to go to the Senate. And the Senate isn't going to be seeing it until like early March, mid-March sort of time, and voting on it. So if it does pass the House, which I do believe it will, it'll have to go to the Senate, and then you have to contend with people like Joe Manchin, who still doesn't get that you just need to give people money right now for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He's from West Virginia, so we don't give him very much credit. And the funny thing is that West Virginia's Republican governor came out strongly in support of $2,000 stimulus checks.
Weird.
And then we have the Democratic senator from West Virginia saying, "Well, we should probably slim it down a little bit. You give the people too much money." I don't know what Joe Manchin sounds like. I refuse to listen to his voice. He looks like a fucking like corpse. So fucking
yeah. That's good. That's very good.
So yeah, the timeline on that is hopefully March we'll get something. I would not bet on. Don't invest in Dogecoin in the amount of $1,400, expecting to get $1,400 in March.
No.
Actually, don't buy Dogecoin at all right now because it's going to come crashing down very soon.
Buy a little Dogecoin.
I'm
No, don't do it. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna level with everybody here. I'm about to buy crypto myself.
What are you gonna buy?
I'm gonna kind of diversify a little bit, but I'm gonna wait until like next week or two when everything kind of crashes back down again, and then we'll see. We'll play a little money into it,
Yeah. I've been considering doing the same.
Yeah, it's I made fun of a mutual acquaintance of ours for a long time.
Which one is it?
And rightly so, for being like heavily into Bitcoin and shit like that. And
blink twice for Sean.
No, not Sean.
Blink once for
not Sean. No, Sean. Yeah, Sean and I are actually very similar in that we both derided all these cryptocurrencies for a long time. But no, I made fun of a mutual acquaintance of ours for a long time for being and to their credit, they always said it's just a fun little gamble that I'm doing. I'm not like super invested in it. And now I'm kind of kicking myself because they just made like $700 off their investment.
There you go.
So I'm like, fuck, man. Well, if I would have bought like, I could have bought like $50 of Dogecoin back in the day and been like, I don't know, $1,000 richer today.
Buddy.
Yeah, we learn lessons sometimes the hard way, and there's no indication that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general is any kind of currency you should actually be buying into. So, still very much a gamble, still very much a bad idea. But
right, yeah,
bad idea things sometimes. Go ahead.
Right. No, definitely a gamble. But
it's not like backed by anything really. It's just like and let's be fair to all currency. There's no backing to any currency, but like
right, and that's actually that's actually the thing that is good about crypto in a funny way, is that crypto is backed by itself, whereas no currency is backed by anything, including its own like physical form. So in a bizarre way, crypto is backed by more than most currency is, because there's actual ledgers that everyone has, and that it itself is like kind of self-perpetuating. Right. So yeah.
There's an argument to be made for the blockchain,
right.
I think, and modern finance. I don't think we're quite there yet, but
Oh man, why did I read this one?
Yeah, I've had it up for a couple of seconds, and I was surprised that. Yeah.
Oh Lord!
So in the in the interest of Biden imperialism, one of the great imperial projects of America, sorry, the U.S. I should say. Is,
I guess in this.
What's that?
I guess in this setting, yeah.
yeah, because we're still talking about the Americas. So one of the imperial projects of the U.S. fucked up again. Is our meddling in South America, and Venezuela being one of the countries that we've done a lot of meddling in. Attempted coups
with toy guns.
Yeah, with toy guns. Lots of dumb shit has gone on in Venezuela, and that could be its own episode at some point. And I think we have a couple of listeners that would have pretty good insight on the
for sure
politics down there. So maybe we could get them on sometime. It would be a good discussion, I think. But one of the major things about Trump was, Trump refused to see Maduro as the legitimate leader of Venezuela, and instead supported the opposition, which is, claiming election fraud, probably not legitimate. And let's not say that Maduro is like the greatest leader in the world or anything like that.
Certainly not.
Not great people. In either case, but it does seem legitimate that Maduro was elected. However, the Biden administration will continue to recognize Juan Guaido as Venezuela's leader, top diplomat. Fuck.
Diplomats.
Top diplomat. This is like the most sober I've ever been for one of these episodes, and
that's your mistake. I think that's my mistake too, because I'm 100% right now, and it's just
crushing sobriety.
Shit. Yeah. I just want to take a nap.
What do you got? Blinken, Anthony Blinken. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden's administration will continue to recognize Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido as the South American country's president. Anthony Blinken, Biden's nominee for Secretary of State, said on Tuesday. This was Tuesday, January 19th. Okay, so like a couple weeks ago, I guess. Nothing's changed.
Hell yeah.
So this is, something we've warned about is, the imperialism that's going to continue under Biden. Another subject that we could touch on that is, of course, Afghanistan, a country that we're still fucking in.
Still fucking
in. And as a personal anecdote, when I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2011, one of the major projects I was working on was a tear down of the maintenance shop compound that I was working on, because there was this sort of pervasive idea that we were going to leave very soon under Obama, and so the military started positioning itself to get all the equipment out of there, and so we reduced the size of our shop by probably a third, which was pretty significant. We're talking about entire radio repair divisions and stuff like that. And so it's always heartbreaking to me to see that we're still in Afghanistan, because we just have nothing left to do there. We didn't have a reason to be there in the first place. Anything that we could have done with Osama bin Laden could have been done without the long-term occupation that we decided to commit to. And obviously the reason that we decided to commit to a long-term occupation is because of its proximity to things like Russia and China. The deposits of lithium is probably a good reason that we're still
doesn't hurt.
The opium trade, there's a lot of reasons that we're actually there, but none of them are what you would want to tell the American people as reasons that we're there. So Biden, big bipartisan guy. The headline of this article is Bipartisan Report Urges the Biden Administration to Remain Committed to Afghanistan.
Oh, my God. That rules.
This is why we should never trust bipartisanship. Because
right.
And you know, to not paint the Democrats in a good light and be like, we shouldn't trust bipartisanship because the Republicans are war hawks. We shouldn't trust it because the Democrats are also war hawks. And you know, how many Democratic senators currently serving voted for the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan?
Lots of them.
So, you know, the continued imperialist venture in Afghanistan has a strong likelihood of continuing under the Biden administration. Not much more to say about that.
Yeah, but how do they feel about Iraq? No.
I believe.
Move on.
Well, I do believe that. Just want to say maybe minutes after the Biden administration took office, like troops returned to Syria, which is in some ways okay, but it's okay like in the supporting the Kurds sense, but our continued meddling in the Middle East is obviously just a bad thing.
Not making things good, yeah.
Another thing that we should be concerned about is Biden has been completely silent on the drone strike front, and we know that
very good. Yeah.
During the Obama years, the drone strike program increased significantly from the Bush years, where it increased significantly. Trump also increased significantly the drone strike program, and one of the things that I've been saying for a while is I believe that Biden will also increase the drone, like probably not the obscene, like, I don't know, several 100% that Trump did, in terms of like how many strikes are happening.
I don't know.
But when you're working with the like 500% increase or whatever, and then you increase it like another 20%, it's that much more magnified because of, you know,
for sure.
the compounding increases.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I had for our little variety hour thing. I don't know. I think, you know what? Let's end on a positive note.
Okay, because I was about to just you know, leave and never come back.
Oh, okay.
Not because I dislike you, just because I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh, Davey boy.
Let's look up some Dave Rubin clips.
Let's do it. Let's watch some of his stand-up, dude.
You want to watch some of his stand-up?
Yeah. Well, actually,
Short
maybe
clips.
that's more painful. I don't know.
No,
Let's do it.
Having sex.
Ugh.
This is my impression. This is my impression. It's the only impression I do. I literally haven't done it for years. This is my impression of Yoda having sex.
Oh, jeez.
Yoda having sex.
Going to come, I am.
Thank you.
All right.
You literally closing your eyes the entire.
Yeah, you got some laughs out of the crowd. They must have been drunk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see this clip.
Okay.
It's captioned.
None of these are gonna make us laugh.
I can't quite figure out why Dave Rubin's comedy career never took off.
Excellent.
This is what I did. Oh, I'm a little different in comedy form. It's coming back. I mean, I used to do this. This is what I did. Okay. I forgot that I'm good at this. All right. Doesn't that seem weird that gays now hate the Mormons? Like, a Mormon wants to have a lot of wives, and I want to fuck one dude. Why are we fighting? What are we fighting over? What are we fighting over? Thank you for that smile, sir. That was a very supportive smile. Very good. So is this your lady right here? Are you in a lady mode? Do you go in modes? I'm always wondering about the bisexuals. No. So you don't... Lesbians giving other lesbians flowers. Have you ever heard anything more beautiful than that? Obviously you have. Oh, you have a... I'm feeling a lot's going to happen between you two. This woman and this man right there. Dan Abrams' cock is huge. What? Okay. You have your foot up his balls. If I know anything about gays, it's that they don't want monogamy. Good night, everybody. No, did I lose you there? No, too heartfelt, right? We had a little delay here. What happened? You were with me. Now I needed you. That's where I could have used you for a second, and you were drinking Amstel Light, the beer of lesbians. Yeah. That I would tell you, there is something in Wolf Blitzer's beard that you don't want to see when you're still. And so are we excited? Obama is the... No, you're cold. You're just a cold... You're cold. You know that the gays are cold. That they fear the cold. The gays love water, but fear the cold. Exciting. I'm very happy. The comics are literally so excited. As I walked out, one of the comedians said to me, "How gay are you going to be for this show?" Which I think that's a sign, don't you think? Okay, we'll edit laughter in there. So, good grammar. Lychee. I got some lychee, and I'm not kidding. As I had it in my mouth, she said to me, "Dave, you know, that has the same consistency as vagina." And I've been out of the game for probably 10 years. And can anyone else confirm that? Is it a heavy vagina feeling?
Well, that was painful.
Yeah, that sucked. It did actually, I was surprised. It did transcend for me a couple times where I did laugh because it was so painful. So thank you for that.
No,
I did need
different
that.
kind of laughter. Like,
Because that first clip just, oh, no. But that one did work.
Yoda having sex is the only impression he does.
Oh, God.
What a beautiful boy.
What a beautiful boy.
He's been recently claiming that he's threatening to like stop his show and stuff like that.
Yeah, close enough. Do it. Do it.
You won't. Do it, you coward. So yeah, next episode, we'll be doing accelerationism.
Gonna explain the whole thing,
which is gonna be kind of like a paired release sort of thing. With the podcast Bringing Down the Grindhouse that you went on the other day.
Yeah, just a couple days ago.
They're releasing next week, and we'll be releasing around the same time.
Because we don't edit like cowards.
Yeah, we don't edit because we just
fools, idiots.
I don't fucking care, man. Like,
who are these fucking people that edit their podcasts?
Losers and dorks. Jimmy Dore. Yeah. Jimmy Dore edits his interviews apparently.
Evidently.
Yeah.
Evidently, yeah.
And I don't want to be like that. I stick by everything I say.
That's dangerous and cool. Yes. And same. I've never said anything I don't mean. By the way, I want to apologize to all of the Germans that I've hurt.
Oh.
All the Australians.
The who?
I think that's the whole list. I think that's the whole list of nationalities I've said bad things about.
Yeah, probably.
That I want to take back. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, next week. Do check out their page though. Bringing Down the Grindhouse. It's a cool horror themed podcast. And yeah, pretty solid.
Friends of ours as well.
Yeah, charming people.
Charming people, which makes you wonder why they hang out with us at all.
That's a good question.
They don't hang out with us much often, actually.
Yeah, you'll find out on the next episode of Bringing Down the Grindhouse. I'm also featured minimally on another episode that they have coming out talking about My Bloody Valentine, because I was stuck in the room with them as they were recording and tried to remain quiet, but couldn't shut the fuck up.
Ah, of course you did. Yeah, that's therein lies the problem.
2 for 1. You got to see why they hang out with me by watching me hang out with them.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
And that's at BGTH_podcast.
B
bringing down Bringing Down the Grindhouse. So BDH. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I always struggle with that one for some reason. That's letters that confuse me.
Yeah, it's too many letters.
Yeah,
I struggle with
nothing like TBRD.
Yeah, I struggle with T-Bird sometimes. That's how I had to like
T-Bird.
Yeah, I always think of our podcast as like a fucking, I don't know, like a 93 T-Bird or no T-Bird, Thunderbird, man, like the classic
Thunderbird,
car.
like the liquor.
Yeah. No, the car that's like in every.
A buddy of mine had one of those.
Yeah.
And he wrapped it around a tree in Elven Forest.
Yeah, every T-Bird ends up wrapped around a tree. It starts out in a
haunted forest.
Ends up wrapped around a tree. And that's what I think about our podcast. Is we're a T-Bird.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize to everyone for this episode. Pretty low energy. I'm a sleepy Joe today.
All good. I think Joe. I carried the other half of it because I've been sleeping, and I also chugged a Red Bull right before this, and also I'm like mostly sober. So
good work, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go fix most of those problems.
Like 1 week
now.
of self-care. Let me pat myself on the back, and
I ate a salad today. Yeah.
All right. Coming up in the Benzo Rehab dungeon sphere is I'm almost done writing my my piece on Orwell.
Oh yeah.
I took some pauses on that because some other things came up. I think that's all I have going on my end. You still have your workshop going on.
Yep.
Like to talk about the upcoming changes.
Yeah, well, there are going to be some upcoming changes. But first off, I wanted to thank the people that came in for the open house workshop that we did.
Yeah,
that was really successful. Yeah. Good crowd, cool, interesting people. We are replacing one of the modules that we do with a new one, which is Revolt. So we'll be talking about all three different meanings of that, but we'll be focusing, of course, on the revolutionary aspect. So if you're interested in politics, primarily leftward politics or revolutionary politics, you should probably check it out. So
Indeed.
That's find that in my bio. The link is in the bio at Dank Deleuze on Instagram, or you can find it on Patreon, Truncata, Truncata.
Cool. Well, all right. We love you. Please take your medicine.
Take mine too.
Hi, Michael Deebs here, with no gun pointed at my head. Please know that all content created for the Benzo Rehab Dungeon is and always will be freely available. However, if you would like to support this creation of content, we here at Camp Benzo would appreciate it, as the production itself is not free of cost. Anything donated will go to covering the various subscription fees maintained for content production or improving and expanding the content produced. If you are able to, please head on over to patreon.com/benzorehabdungeon. We also have shirts for sale on Teespring, all priced as low as we can get them without turning much or any profit. They are mostly so that you can show your loved ones that a necessary intervention may be on the horizon. Links to the merchandise storefront and our various social media profiles can be found on our link tree, which is the word linktr.ee/benzorehabdungeon. As always, we love you. Please take your medicine.